Hi, Ruth Rice here with my second renewable rambling. So, this is chapter 2, economy. We're looking here at what sort of culture shifts we might need to have within our churches and in our own lives towards well-being, towards shalom. And this chapter is all about what we're measuring and why we're measuring it. We spend quite a lot of time, don't we, now thinking about how many people are coming to things or how well we're doing at something. And I'm not sure that the economy that we're using is the economy of the kingdom. What I see in the Gospels is Jesus spending a lot of time with one person. He doesn't have a great big mass rally to try and get the information out to loads of people. Very often he is taking a walk and stopping, like in this chapter in John chapter 4, where he stops at a well in Samaria. And I have loads of thoughts about this beautiful, beautiful story. It's really key for us as a charity, because this well that this woman goes to in her brokenness, the place where she keeps going to draw water, but on her own, so that she's not with other people, because they're judging her, maybe because she feels isolated. It really reminds me of the time when I wasn't well with my mental and emotional health, and I got really, really isolated because of perceived judgments on me as a Christian. I don't think they were real. I don't think anybody was judging me. I think in my own head, though, I felt like, I'm a Christian leader. I should be able to pull myself together. And what are people going to think? Got very isolated, found myself on the very edges of church. And I wonder who else feels like that. I wonder whether there are some of the measures in our own lives about our own well-being that just aren't Jesus measures. And then also within our churches at large, how are we measuring success? What does that look like? What does it look like to be measuring what we're doing as a community of well-being? And so I sort of challenge those measures within this chapter, and I'd love for you to think deeply about the question I ask, which is, how are we measuring well-being? And during this story, this beautiful encounter, there's loads of things that I draw out of it, because it is just such an important passage for us as a charity. But I'd love for you to read this story in John chapter 4 of this encounter a couple of times, really dwell in it, really think about the bit that jumps out at you. Just to get you thinking, there are several things you can go from sitting at the well and sitting on the Jesus side of the well and seeing how much honour he gives her. He doesn't just come and say, come on, I'm going to help you, you're lonely and you're sitting at the well by yourself, here's some water. He asks her for a drink first. He asks her to give to him. So often in our churches, we are wanting to fix people and help people. And in doing so, we are sort of disempowering them from being fully human and looking after their well-being. One of the 5 ways to well-being is giving, and to give people an opportunity to give is really important. And Jesus does it here. He asks her for a drink. He's weary and he sits down. Even that, just pondering that for the day, he is weary. The Son of God is weary, and he doesn't just power through. He sits down and he takes help and he takes refreshment. You could also sit on the woman's side of the well and learn from her. She is remarkable, I think. We have maybe made judgments about her ourselves when we've read this passage and thought, oh, she's a sinner, she had all these husbands and all these men. But have we thought about the context? She's in a male-dominated world, and she will have been used and thrown away. She will have been let down, and she will have found herself again sitting with a man at a well thinking, can I trust him? And what's amazing is she doesn't walk away. She doesn't run away. She stays for the encounter. And having been hurt by lots of people, I'm amazed that she stays. And I wonder what the invitation is for us, just to stay. If we encounter the presence of God, the danger can be that we're like, oh, I don't want to get in too deep with this. I'm just going to keep it shallow, run away. But she goes there. She has this encounter with Jesus, and it changes her life and the lives of many other people. I think when I wasn't well, it was quite scary to think I might encounter God in it. I felt he might be going to judge me or tell me to pull myself together. And the quiet voice that I heard in the middle of that difficult year was the whisper of love that said, Ruth, I couldn't love you anymore. I'll never love you any less. I'm glad I stayed long enough to listen. And so if you're keeping going to the well, I mean, here's some lessons. I pull a few lessons out of this from this woman in the chapter. I think about some of the things we can learn from the woman at the well. this is on page 69, is keep going to the well, keep doing your daily self-care habits, even when you feel like nothing is working and no one's with you. If someone asks you for your gift, give it to them. If you encounter love, be brave enough not to run away. Pause, be present, engage fully with the one opposite you. Maybe you are meeting with God himself. There's a blessing for you at the end of this chapter, and I won't read it for you now, but I'd love for you to have a look at that on page 77 and 78. And just a little bit from it says, he's asking you for company. He's chosen you today. He's taken this path through your life. He's the way that's come your way, and he will stay, and he will wait, and he will offer you a cup you've never drunk before, his living, loving water that will leave you full but wanting more. May the blessing of being at the well be to you well-being today. Let's measure well-being in small measures of the one.